Corruption within the system. President Buhari to go after those compromising due process.
Illegal recruitment, those who paid their personal payroll, those who retain ghost workers must be and will be severely punished.
Frequent jail breaks. Senate rises to the occasion. Interior and Justice Ministries to come with an antidote.
About 60% of them were prison system that was established during the colonial era.
Maimala Buni APC committee intact. February National Convention sacrosanct as Kanu governor reacts to court
A reconciliation
judgment.
committee has been set up. Reach out to them. If you can't reach out to them, go to the party secretariat and drop your grievances.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on NTA Network News. I am Ian Ray John. Michael Alaleye joins me from Lagos and Kemi Oshin is in Ibadan. Welcome. President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria will continue to support ECOWAS Parliament to make laws to address all factors impeding security, peace, democracy and sustainable economic development in West Africa. At the opening of the 2021 second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament, President Buhari reaffirmed his commitment to regional integration and good governance in ECOWAS. Onengiye Fanface reports.
ECOWAS Parliament 2021 second ordinary session holds in line with Article 17.2a of the Supplementary Act for Parliament to consider the ECOWAS community budget towards addressing the needs of the people. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari, in a message, tasked members of Parliament to be thorough in revising the previous budget performance and making fiscal provisions to address critical regional concerns and targets in the new budget.
2021 second ordinary session is crucial to the realization of the institution's objectives by creating the opportunity for the intervention of parliamentarians. These interventions are citizen-driven, given the place of parliamentarians in governance arrangements.
We need to sustain coordination and to work in synergy in order to succeed in bringing about an ECOWAS of the people as we march towards Vision 2050.
The budget is also expected to advance progress in democracy, rule of law, peace, conflict resolution, fight against terrorism and other forms of insecurity, poverty, climate change, and the COVID-19 crisis.
We must leave our comfort zone and go to the people, remembering that we are only servants and nothing more. Furthermore, putting an end to violence and threats to our rising democracies should be our greatest priority. For only in peace and unity that we can plan and actualize national and regional development.
Referrals from the ECOWAS Commission will also be considered during this ordinary session, alongside parliamentary workshops, country and committee reports on a wide range of issues. In Abuja, Onengiye Fanface, NTA News.
Any government official found undermining government projections, escalating the cost of governance and denying Nigeria value for money through projects duplication in the budget will be sanctioned. Severe punishment also awaits those conducting illegal recruitment, padding their personnel payroll and retaining ghost workers in the service. President Muhammadu Buhari read the Riot Act at the third National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The summit put together by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation in collaboration with the ICPC had as its theme corruption and cost of governance, new imperative for fiscal transparency. Several infractions, including illegal recruitment and duplication of projects in the budget, have been identified as major push factors on high cost of governance and rising personnel budget.
ICPC review of the 2021 budget found that 257 projects amounting to 20.138 billion were duplicated.
If we do not fight corruption and kill it, like the president would always say, corruption will kill our country.
President Muhammadu Buhari said with the COVID-19 pandemic creating a strain on the nation's resources, government has no alternative than to look critically at the cost of governance.
We cannot ignore critical investment in infrastructure and other investments that will enhance growth, development, and security. Government has, however, noted that some MDAs have devised the fraudulent practice of presenting new projects as ongoing projects. Necessary action and sanctions will continue against the heads of such errant MDAs.
President Buhari also expressed serious concern over the creation of many departments and agencies over the years, thereby duplicating roles and bureaucracy in governance.
Reforms are needed, but every reform has inherent costs and pains. Government will strike a balance to maintain social equilibrium, mitigate the pains of reforms, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. Nonetheless, those who illegally bring in personnel into the public workforce by illegal recruitment, those who paid their personal payroll, those who retain ghost workers must be and will be severely punished.
The president said Nigeria's immense potential have been handicapped by corruption, an imbalanced economy, as well as insecurity, which the federal government is committed to finding lasting solutions. Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed delivered a keynote address at the event, while the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, and Senate President Ahmed Lawan represented in their messages of goodwill, pledged the support of the judiciary and the legislature, respectively, to the government's genuine efforts at eliminating corruption and corrupt tendencies in Nigeria's national life for a prosperous future.
If possible, special courts and expedited trials can be introduced or adopted for corrupt cases.
It is my fervent belief that if all of us work in harmony with one voice, corruption and the allied cases will certainly be on their way out.
The National Assembly remains committed to the aspiration of a corrupt-free and indefensible Nigeria.
Major highlight of the ceremony was the presentation of the 2021 Public Service Integrity Awards to 3 deserving Nigerians. They are Muhammad Tukur Ahmad of the NDLEA, Nelson Oji Okoronko of the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and Ikenna Steve Nweke, a PhD student in Japan who found a wallet containing large sums of money, submitted it to the Japanese police, and declined a 10% reward offered in return. President Buhari described him as an icon and indeed a beacon of the nation's youth. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government says it's partnering Nigerian Exchange Group to mobilize resources to drive its growth plan in a bid to speed up economic recovery. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this at the Nigerian Exchange Group Capital Market Conference in Abuja. Musa Abubakar reports.
Actually, not only the 4.03% Nigeria's third quarter GDP growth is a welcome development for many. And in participants here at the Capital Market Conference, the trajectory must be sustained despite limited resources. This is considering the fact that more capital is needed for infrastructural development and investment in key sectors of the economy.
And that foreign investors are reassured of foreign exchange mechanisms and other regulations that will enable them to channel their resources in and take their resources out with the least possible constraints.
This conference provides an opportunity for us to jointly think through the ways we can improve the policy and legislative process in government to make sure that government facilities allows capital to flow.
It's important for all players and stakeholders to be more concerned about making our nation's capital market a viral hub for investments.
Stakeholders believe that the capital market is a veritable tool to mobilize long-term resources for development.
We're well placed to support the economic recovery plans of the government and contribute to the development of the Nigerian capital market by leveraging purpose, not just for a wealthy few or a few Lagos-based people, as some people like to throw at the exchange, but a place really to create wealth for a very wide population of Nigerians.
We're also engaging with the capital market participants. The capital market had done a capital market master plan, and we had asked the capital market participants to support us by fashioning out savings policy, and the work has been completed. Excellent work that has been done to increase financial inclusion.
The conference seeks to position the Nigerian capital market to attract greater global flows for sustainable economic recovery. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Elsewhere, professional accountants from across the country are canvassing proper management of public funds through the use of technology in accounting practice as Nigeria stays on the path of economic growth and recovery. Muplang Dakok was at a stakeholders' engagement with the president of International Federation of Accountants held in Abuja and now reports.
The meeting brought together stakeholders of the accounting profession in Nigeria with president of the International Federation of Accountants. Discussion centered on the role of accountants, the International Federation of Accountants, and the World Bank in solving some of the economic challenges occasioned by COVID-19.
Professional accountants remain invaluable resource in any economist's drive towards an efficient and judicious use of financial assets and in effectively mitigating risks.
At the World Bank, we have launched what we call the future of governments. And I'm talking about that future of governments because I believe as accountants we have a role to play in it.
Continuous learning among accounting professionals was emphasized as key to positioning them to contribute to the country's economic recovery.
Professional accountants must embrace lifelong learning, not only as a strategy, but also as a need, because high levels of cognitive skills are essential for survival.
We need to retool through continuous learning and relearning in digital skills, business advisory services and strategic solutions, service providers. Then we have to leverage on technology.
The overall goal is to develop a profession that is relevant and better positioned to lead in solving economic and financial difficulties at any moment. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
In other news, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has begun consultations ahead of Nigeria's hosting of the UNWTO CAF regional meeting next year. Anthony Forson reports.
Information and Culture Minister, who was received on arrival in Madrid by the Nigerian ambassador to Spain, Ademola Seriki, engaged the UNWTO Secretary General, Zura Pololikashvili, on a tentative date for the event, programs to be lined up, as well as involvement of UNWTO and Nigeria, the host country.
We worked around a date which will be suitable for all the parties, and tentatively we are looking at sometimes in November 2022. And we chose November because we also want, as a major side event of that conference, the commissioning of the renovated National Theatre in Lagos. So what we have in mind is we have the main conference in Abuja and then a side event in Lagos. And we hope that we'll be able to persuade the president to be at the commissioning of the National Theatre to coincide, which will coincide with the, with the CAF meeting in Nigeria.
For the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, he has every confidence in Nigeria, having done so before.
We are going to make quite big and first ever, a very interesting and very important conference in Lagos next year, because our strategies and we are focused a lot to make Africa more trendy, more visible, especially in culture terms. Unfortunately, from our point of view, African gastronomy and culture, it's not represented as well as it deserved. So, with the His Excellency Minister, we will be more than happy to promote and to help African youth, African representatives from the culture industry and tourism, of course, again, and to support them worldwide.
The Nigerian ambassador to Spain, on his part, said the hosting right awarded Nigeria is a demonstration of Nigeria's capacity and strength on the global scene.
We stand to benefit a lot. The Honourable Minister being here and has given a reassurance to a better and an improved relations between Nigeria and UNWTO. The United Nations World Tourism Organization ought to be a global body, not to exclude Africa, but Nigeria is playing a very, very key role and pivotal role indeed. And what we're looking at for them to come to Nigeria for a conference next year, we will consolidate everything by January. And with that, we can be rest assured that Nigeria will play key stars.
With a tentative date not fixed and theme not agreed on, Lai Mohammed expressed confidence that his trip to Madrid, Spain will resolve the issues. In Madrid, Spain, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Back home, the desired sustainable growth of any society is dependent on an inclusive, safe and disciplined society which adheres to principles of transparency and accountability. This is the standpoint of President Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria while commenting on the theme Trust in Governance as part of activities marking the 51st Annual Conference of the Chartered Institute of Accountants of Nigeria. Uneka Oku reports.
It's the 51st Annual Accountants Conference, the largest gathering of Nigerian accounting professionals.
The theme of the conference, Trust in Governance, and the various themes were painstakingly chosen to address critical economic, corporate, and institutional issues. We are upbeat that we will all rise from this conference with a new orientation.
Accountants have a whole lot to do with re-establishing trust in government, and this can be done through reforms in the public finance management system.
The conversation here is to x-ray emerging challenges and prospects with a view to arriving at better outcomes centered on transparency in governance.
With business, political and social environments changing rapidly, it becomes imperative for us to rethink governance against the backdrop of the new normal. Digital disruption, democratization of knowledge, and ambiguity of information have positioned people at the advantage of the global scene.
The accounting profession today is thriving to move with global trends by leveraging on the opportunities technology offers for seamless execution of accounting procedures. For the leadership of the Institute, there can never be any missed opportunities.
It has come to stay. Nobody can avoid the move in technology these days, not even just the professional accountant, but even all aspects of the economy. We need to embrace it to make us achieve better, to make us more efficient. And this issue of accuracy and transparency that we're talking about, it enhances it. It makes it possible, because what machines can do in 1 hour, 10 people cannot do in 1 week. So the place of it is that it makes all of us work more efficiently and we deliver more and better services.
Both private and public should ensure that there's transparency and accountability in whatever they do, so that at the end of the day, the people, the led, who are those we are governing, they will be able to feel the impact of governance.
From the International Conference Center in Abuja, Neka Oku, NTA News.
Time for a short break. Please stay.
The secret to good cooking is that special ingredient. The mothers know it, but does this new generation know it? Let's find out. Mothers, daughters, are you ready? Yes! Let the cooking begin.
Erisco tomato paste. Now we get home, now we get love, now we get children. We spice the world with a meal so great and so healthy. You know we've got your back. Oh, with Erisco redeem.
Gentlemen, food is ready.
Good food for the body. Yum yum for the body.
Erisco Rigico and Nagico tomato paste is made by Erisco Foods Limited, feeding Africans with healthy foods.
The National Prosperity Movement (NPM) presents the National Unity Summit, a forum where illustrious Nigerians representing diverse interests and groups will have meaningful conversations on the issue of peace, unity, equity, and nation building. The theme of the summit is Nigeria, the imperative of unity, happening on the 1st of December 2021 at the NAF Conference Center, Kado, Abuja. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. The chairman of the occasion is Major General IBM Haruna, retired. Special guest of honor is Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum. The keynote speaker is Professor Atahiru Jega, former chairman of INEC. Royal father is Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammadu Saadu Abubakar, CFR. You can follow the event live on Facebook by liking and following our page National Prosperity Movement and on Twitter at NPM_NG. Also watch live on YouTube on NPM TV. National Prosperity Movement. Prosperity for all Nigerians.
There's a saying that Christmas is what you make of it. At Bedmade Furniture, we enjoy making your Christmas comfortable and exciting with the furniture we provide you. That's why from 1st November to 18 December 2021, Bedmade offers you and your loved ones amazing luxury furniture your home loves and truly needs at up to 70% discount. You also stand a chance to win fridges, TVs, washing machines, and many more as we keep making your living better through the furniture you love.
The National Board for Technical Education, in collaboration with Dutch Gesellschaft International, invites you to a one-day high-level meeting on Industry Consultation 7.0. The consultative meeting, with the theme Skills for Economic Prosperity, is designed to create awareness on skills training, Nigeria's skills framework, and the need for involvement of industries in development, delivery, and quality assurance of the skills ecosystem. The Executive Secretary, National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris Mbugaji, will present a paper on overview of Nigeria's skills ecosystem. President MAN will also present a paper on skills, security and economic growth, while GIZ will look at industry partnership in skills delivery and international perspective. This year's engagement is slated for Thursday, 2nd of December 2021. The venue is Secunda House, 1446, off plot 1008, Constitution Avenue, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. prompt, and will attract participants from the organized private sector, MAN, NECA, as well as relevant MDAs. Announcer, Professor Idris Mbugaji, Executive Secretary, National Board for Technical Education.
The House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values, in collaboration with Ent Design Resource Hub Limited, invites all to a conference. Theme: Information as a Strategic Tool for National Development. Date: 2nd and 3rd December. Time: 10 a.m. daily. Venue: NAF Conference Center, Kado, Abuja. Chairman of the occasion, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. Special guest of honor, Boss Mustafa Alhaji Yahya Bello. Host, Alhaji Lai Muhammad. Co-host, Hajia Ramatu Tijani Aliyu. For details, please call the following numbers. Honorable Adebumi Olusegun Dokun, announcer.
All is now set for Kwara State to host the 40th edition of the annual Public Service Games at the Ilorin Township Stadium. Over 70 ministries, departments, and parastatals will be competing in this year's events. Date: 30th November to 8th December 2021. Chief host, His Excellency Malam Abdurrahman Abdurazak, the Executive Governor, Kwara State. 16 sporting events including football, badminton, amongst others, will be featured in the games. Public servants are testing their strengths. It is time to watch sports in another level.
Thank you.
FEPSCA 2021. Fitness for life.
Thank you for staying. The visiting South African leader, Cyril Ramaphosa, was hosted to a private dinner by President Muhammadu Buhari at his official residence. State House correspondent Adamu Samva reports that President Ramaphosa is on a reciprocal state visit to Nigeria, having played host to the Nigerian leader in October 2019 in Pretoria. The dinner was put together by President Buhari to show appreciation to his South African counterpart for the renewed friendship between their countries, anchored on mutual respect, solidarity and understanding. Over the next 2 days, hope for a better future through a shared vision will be rekindled as Nigeria and South Africa recommit themselves to working as a united front towards confronting the numerous challenges bedeviling their countries and the continent. The solemn event provided the opportunity for the leaders to reflect on their country's long-lasting relationship that is now full of potential and promise. Nigeria and the Republic of South Africa, as two largest economies in Africa, now have an elevated binational commission as an important platform to forge ahead in deepening their highly beneficial relations. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema described the visit by the South African leader to Nigeria as significant.
We see that Nigeria, South Africa as the two big engines for growth of the African continent, and the importance of us coming closer, even closer together. We feel that this will not only be the interest of the two countries, but also of Africa generally. And, you know, in particular, you recall that Mr. President was in South Africa just about 2 weeks ago to attend a forum on intra-African trade designed to promote trade amongst African countries, which is pretty low at the moment, about 13%. So this is really an opportunity for these two countries to come together. So we're looking to see strengthened cooperation in all those areas that I've mentioned going forward. So we have the pandemic that we're all facing, the COVID pandemic, so we also have to work together with South Africa in developing vaccines. So that's obviously, you know, one area. And if we're going to come out strong or build back better in all these sectors, then I think the leaders coming together and agreeing on a shared strategy going forward will be to the great benefit of Nigeria and South Africa.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed solidarity with Nigerian women as they observe 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The president spoke while receiving commemorative items marking the event from the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talon. Describing women as the bedrock of the society and largely responsible for stabilizing the home front, President Buhari said his faith in the capability of Nigerian women remains steadfast, as exemplified by the key positions they occupy in government. The minister had briefed the president on various enlightenment activities of her ministry towards the international campaign. The 16-day activism with the theme Orange the World, End Violence Against Women Now, which started last week Thursday on the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, will be rounded off on December 10 to coincide with the World Human Rights Day. Also, First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has joined female members of her staff on the campaign on the elimination of violence against women and girls as part of 16 days activism against gender-based violence. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
Gender-based violence is the violation of rights of women and girls involving rape and all forms of sexual harassment. To end the menace, the United Nations has set aside 25th November to 10th December annually as 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. To this end, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, joined her members of staff to commemorate the campaign.
Gender-based violence is a gross violation of women and girls' fundamental human rights.
1 in 5 girls are survivors of female genital mutilation. All women and girls must have access to reproductive health services.
The First Lady emphasized on the need for all critical stakeholders to join hands for the elimination of violence against women.
I called on government, religious, and community leaders to adopt the culture of zero gender-based violence and harmful practices.
Aisha Buhari also urged victims to always speak out for help to ensure justice and to end the menace.
Say no to gender-based violence.
From the State House, Ali Kabir, NTA News.
And still with the First Lady, recent statistics by UNAIDS shows Nigeria contributes the largest number of mother-to-child transmission of HIV globally. Nigeria's First Lady, Aisha Buhari, is set to change this narrative through intensified intervention to ensure no child is born with HIV in Nigeria. Basa Ita Ekman reports that this was at a youth engagement to mark World AIDS Day.
Parents to pay attention, close attention to their children, because if you don't pay attention to your world, your children who you're out there hustling for.
Farouk and Choma were speaking the minds of these youths who say HIV would reduce to a great extent if parents could give their children listening ears rather than push them to seek answers to some questions from peers. Gloria, who got infected at age 10 through blood transfusion, while sharing the experience of over 30 years of living with HIV, agrees no less.
And I stand up to fight for young people who are living positively, because if we say the stigma is not existing, it's still there, even in your family members.
The president's wife was represented by the special assistant to the president on African First Lady's Peace Mission.
The challenge of inequality in accessing HIV/AIDS services, which is further deepened by the socio-economic disparities, has created an increasingly worrisome situation that requires collective action.
Super important for adolescents and young persons to have the opportunity to know about their HIV status, to know how to prevent HIV infection.
The event's future debate on whether the knowledge of HIV is for the well-being of the adolescent or not. Basi Taipang, NTA News.
Heading to the National Assembly now, the Senate is to engage the Ministry of Interior and the Attorney General of the Federation on the need to review Nigeria's correctional system, especially as regards to jailbreak, which has continued for some time now. This came to the fore when the legislators condemned the Jos Medium Correctional Center jailbreak and called for reinforcement of physical protection at correctional centers. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The motion on the jailbreak at the Jos Medium Correctional Center and the attacks in Basa and Jos East local government area of Plateau State was the only motion of urgent public importance. Senator Estefanus Gyang moved the motion, which highlighted the various damages and lives lost from the attacks. The legislators canvassed the establishment of a special correctional center for condemned and high-profile criminals.
The invaders walked through a security zone and broke through to have over 200 inmates escape from the center.
This call for our urgent intervention in terms of providing more personnel.
About 60% of them were prison system that was established during the colonial era.
Senate mandated its Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to engage the Federal Ministry of Justice on the issue of delay in the prosecution of perpetrators of violence against women. This followed the motion by the Chairman, Senate Committee on Women Affairs on the 2021 International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
With a view of setting up additional special courts to handle the issues of gender-based violence.
And also reminding us about the advancements we've also made as a National Assembly, especially with respect to the domestication of the VAP Act and also the Child Rights Act.
The Nigerian Independent Warehouse Regulatory Agency Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Suleiman Sadiq Omar, the Federal College of Agriculture Abuja Odua River State Establishment Bill by Senator Betty Apiafi, and the Federal Unity Colleges Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Bima Inagi, passed second reading.
Warehouse receipts will provide an important addition to negotiable instruments in our country's financial sector.
To act as agent and catalyst of effective agricultural system through postgraduate training.
Senate harped on the need for government to prioritize sustainable youth development programs as it passed the Nursing and Midwifery Act Amendment Bill and the National Maternal and Perinatal Death Surveillance Bill 2021. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has commenced holistic amendment of the Nigeria Customs Service Management Act in view of its significance to the country's fiscal and national policy development. The bill seeks more revenue generation to fund critical projects for economic development. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us details.
The proposed amendments to the Nigeria Customs Service Management Act, as highlighted by the sponsor of the bill, Representative Leke Abejide, is to reposition the service in terms of capacity to generate more revenue, provision of logistics, implementation of the section of Finance Act that deals with collection of levies on carbonated drinks, and provision of legislative input in the appointment of the Controller General, as is the case with the service chiefs. The bill passed second reading with 4 others. House members adopted a motion from Representative Dachum Bagos urging authorities to scale up strategies to prevent emergence and spread of COVID-19 variants like Omicron.
It has become very, very necessary for Nigeria to activate response, to look into the issue of Omicron, which is a new variant that is very deadly.
Also adopted was the motion from the Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu calling for the restoration of electricity supply in parts of Delta State that have been without light for close to 20 years.
As a result of the dilapidation of 33 kVA line, the electricity supply was cut off in Enwa and Iklan and other communities nearby, thereby leaving the entire community in perpetual darkness.
The House has passed a resolution urging the federal government to deploy adequate security to parts of Niger State to protect lives and national assets from bandits, as moved by Jafar Mohammed, just as it urged the extension of the Lagos-Kano standard gauge rail line to parts of Oyo State, as raised by Moraino Ajibola.
The Sanusi railway station in Oyo State, which serves as a gateway between the northwest and the southwest of Nigeria, holds enormous agricultural potentials for the country.
Plenary featured first reading of 13 bills from the National Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly, President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed his commitment in the provision of road transport infrastructure to improve ease of doing business and lift the citizens out of poverty. The president reiterated this resolve at the inauguration and handover of the Vandekia-Obudu Cattle Ranch Road that links Benue and Cross River States. Elias Etiaf reports that President Buhari was represented at the event by the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume.
The flag-off of the 24-kilometer Vandekia-Obudu Cattle Ranch Phases 1 and 2 roads, according to the representative of the President, the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, is in fulfillment of the present administration's drive to provide critical infrastructure across Nigeria to improve lives and livelihoods. Senator Akume expressed delight that the road projects, apart from linking the 2 states of Benue and Cross River, will also foster economic growth and improve social relationships among the communities.
The results of our investment are manifesting. I can confidently say that as we enter the final lap of the tenure of the Buhari administration, we are also entering a season of completion and delivery of projects.
Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who were both represented, recalled that the contracts for the 2 phases, which consist of 12.5 and 11.5 kilometers respectively, are executed at a total sum of 6.6 billion naira.
The Sukuk is currently contributing to progress of work on 44 roads across Nigeria.
The phase 1, which covered 12.5 kilometers, commenced in December 2012, while phase 2 for the completion of the outstanding 11.5 kilometers was awarded in January 2015.
Various speakers at the inauguration expressed gratitude to President Buhari's administration for projects so far completed.
In Vandekia local government area of Benue State, Elias Etiaf, NTA News.
Let's talk politics now. The All Progressives Congress Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee wants party members, especially the youth, to use the proposed February 2022 National Convention to intensify efforts in mobilizing and encouraging more participation by members of that demographic. The youth representative of APC CECPC, Ismail Ahmed, says young Nigerians occupy a place of esteem and relevance in the programs and activities of the party, and urged them to desist from acts that will derail intra-party peace-building initiatives.
A reconciliation committee has been set up. Reach out to them. If you can't reach out to them, go to the party secretariat and drop your grievances. When it is not addressed, then you can shout to the high heavens that, look, you have such grievances and it has not been addressed. The president has agreed with the recommendation. The NEC would have to be convened at some point. We call on everyone who is a genuine member of this party, who has this party at heart, to come and sit down and begin to strategize on the best way to get out of it. We as young people, what we want is we want a huge number of NWC members and NEC members to be young people.
February 2022 National Convention of the party, he said, is sacrosanct, having been supported by the leader of the party, President Muhammadu Buhari. And in the courtroom, the Federal Capital Territory High Court has nullified the congresses of the Kano State All Progressives Congress, APC, conducted by the Governor, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje-led faction. The presiding judge, Justice Hamza Muazu, upheld the congresses conducted by Ibrahim Shekarau-led faction of the party as valid and ruled that the Shekarau-led faction conducted election that was signed by the 7-man committee of the APC. He therefore directed the defendants to adopt, recognize and rely on the summary results sheet for what Congress, elected delegates and state delegates submitted at the APC headquarters in Abuja. Meanwhile, the State Commissioner for Information, Muhammad Garba, said the court judgment only affects ward congresses and not state or local government executives of the party. Garba noted that the party structure in the state is still recognized by the national headquarters of the party, but appealed to party members to remain calm and carry on their responsibilities as dictated by the constitution of the party, as the party has filed for an appeal and is still action on the matter. Now time to join Michael in Lagos for more news.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the state government rejects in its entirety the leaked version of the NSAS report in circulation, which does not reflect the true position of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry on NSAS. He stated this while briefing newsmen on steps taken by government to receive a white paper on the reports, as well as close the painful episode of NSAS violence of 2020 in Lagos. Musa Toniat has details.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the continued verbal exchanges and preemptions generated by the leaked version of the NSAS report submitted are unnecessarily heating up the polity, having promised to make public the recommendations of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry on the NSAS protest in due course.
We have no intention to engage in electronics or further inflame the passion on a matter that has generated intense interest and conversation both nationally and internationally. Our decision and our actions will be based entirely on the law, the weight of evidence, and an unblemished respect for the truth.
Governor Sanwo-Olu expresses his readiness to lead a peace walk in December in company of various youth development activists and groups to drive home the point on peaceful coexistence across the metropolis.
The choice confronting us today is between restoring a greater harmony or doing a greater harm. I choose harmony over harm.
He promised to facilitate better communication between the youth and the state security machinery to resolve issues before they escalate, and to provide a platform for young people to initiate formal complaints on human rights violations through the Ministry of Justice. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Prosecution witness in the trial of Chidema and two others over the alleged murder of Usifu Ataga, Mr. Rotimi Albert, says there was a deep indentation of road maps on the body of the deceased at the point of death. He said that this while testifying before a Lagos High Court sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. Amaka Owo completes the reports.
The fourth prosecution witness, Rotimi Albert, a longtime friend of late Michael Yusufo Ataga, told the court that he received a call from a mutual friend of theirs that the contact of the deceased could not be reached. The wife of the deceased, he said, reported to security operatives in Abuja about the unknown whereabouts of her husband. The prosecution witness told the court that this development resulted to tracking of phones of the deceased to the University of Lagos guest house and then Alogomeji in Yaba. He told the court that he later received a call that a body was found. Mr. Rotimi Albert said that he and a mutual friend went to the morgue to identify the body of Michael Yusufo Ataga. Mr. Albert noted that he observed that the body of the deceased had stab wounds on the neck, abdomen, side, and legs, with deep indentation marks around his wrists. During cross-examination, counsel to the first defendant inquired how the banking details of the deceased were monitored by the fourth prosecution witness, but the prosecution counsel vehemently objected to the line of questions by the defendant counsel. After much argument by both counsels, Justice Yetunde Adesonya then adjourned the case till February 2022 for further hearing. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Time now for another break, and when we return, the news continues with Iere in Abuja. Please stay.
Sure, Danny, this one when you get Christmas mood, so see you with this and this and this every day now. Christmas with Glow Berekete plus. Now I feel listen to all my favorite jams all night long.
Glow Breakator Plus is here, and every day is now Christmas. Existing Glow customers will get 400% bonus on every recharge and 100 MB data bonus on first recharge of the month. New Glow customers will get 1,000 Naira welcome bonus. To activate, buy a new Glow SIM today or dial *777# for existing Glow customers.
Every day now Christmas with the Glow Berekete plus.
Madam, how much lasts for this bag of rice?
Customer, I don't give you better price now.
Madam, do well, I go come out.
Oh yeah, come pay. How you want take pay now? You want take go take pay for bag of rice? You be Mongo Park? See, make I tell you, times don't change.
My country people, before, our people they use different things as money, trade by barter, cowries. Today, we know money as Naira note. But because say the only thing when they constant na change, Central Bank of Nigeria don't introduce e-Naira. E-Naira, now the same thing as Naira. 1 e-Naira equal to 1 Naira. E-Naira go dey inside your phone. E-Naira no dey tear, e no dey heavy. E dey easy to transfer, and you fit use them buy and sell just like Naira note. To begin use e-Naira, ask your bank. This message now from the Bankers Committee.
A nation, a people can be made up of many things. At NGX Group, we embody ambition, inclusiveness, and fairness. As a demutualized entity with 3 subsidiary companies, we are better positioned to serve you more. Our new identity reflects the performance and resilience of our market as represented by a ticker tape. The arrows are stylized to form an N, to denote the act of collaboration and exchange of value. Our powerful payoff line, the stock Africa is made of, is a celebration and affirmation of the greatness, innovativeness, excellence, and entrepreneurial drive of Africans and Africa. And it is these same traits that will see us thrive in an era of endless possibilities. It is time to invest and grow. Tap into what Africa is made of. NGX Group, the stock Africa is made of.
Mommy is ready to receive me a bundle of joy. Mommy is making my hope
That's why Dettol and me together will make my baby's home safe and to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. That's why moms want to be Dettol. Dettol Sure. We are Dettol, Dettol Sure.
Guess what?
What?
I scored a hat trick today.
Cool!
Wow!
And how did you celebrate?
Just do your hands like this.
And hold the nose like this?
Body odor is caused by germs. That's why you need the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which protects against 99.9% odor-causing germs with an extra burst of menthol freshness. Dettol, be 100% sure.
It's now time for business, and we'll start by telling you that the president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, has lent his voice to the conversation on the need to enhance accounting profession, reposition accountants as professionals for greater impact and relevance in the nation building. Speaking at the ongoing 51st Annual Conference of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria in Abuja, Akinwumi says bridging the trust gap in governance will enhance the economy.
I think that there are a lot of things we have to do. Governments are important, private sector is important, but the thing that holds the whole fabric of society together is trust. And we must make sure that we run more responsive institutions, private sector also being transparent, accountable to their own shareholders, and that we all work together to make a society in which trust becomes the fundamental basis that will spur us to greater growth and development.
And on the capital market, investors lost 11.94 billion naira as all share index dipped by 0.05% to close transaction at 43,248.05 basis points. Market capitalization standing at 22.5 trillion naira. 224.9 million shares valued at 3.7 billion naira exchanged hands in 4,331 deals. Market breadth closed negative as ICO led 11 gainers as against 23 losers, topped by Upcred. Market turnover closed positive as Access, Zenith Bank, and Nestle topped market value list. That is business news, and the news continues after this message.
COVID-19 hesitancy, status, and deadline. That's our focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Join us every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative.
It's another season of Kairos.
Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria invite you to their annual service of 9 lessons and carols.
Theme: Peace, be still.
Come and enjoy the ministrations of Radio Nigeria, NTA, Voice of Nigeria, and other choirs.
The message will be given by the Most Reverend Dr. Ignatius Kaigama, Archbishop, Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja.
And lessons will be read by notable Nigerians.
Chairman, Mr. Boss Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Special guest of honor, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Chief host, Alajulai Muhammad, Minister of Information and Culture.
Host, Directors General of FRCN, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria.
Date, Date 5th of December 2021.
Venue, National Christian Center, Abuja.
Time 3 p.m. prompt.
The program will be broadcast live on Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria,
including live streaming on Facebook.
For advert placement, call RATE on 0803 451 2261, Lillian on 0803 314 4383, or Bibiana on 0909 965 1270.
All COVID-19 protocols will be duly observed.
Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria Service of 9 Lessons and Carols 2021.
Supported by Vivid Sounds. Come, let's celebrate the newborn king.